Alright everyone, I decided to start recording these kind of like in the old movie, kind of with the lions coming down and stuff. I thought it would be funny, just because these are like memories and these are stories. So this is a vlog story, obviously, I'm trying to get to that. And I'm re-recording it because the last time it took a little longer and I don't think I built it up as great as I could have. So anyway, this comes from my live journal and it is about my 4th of July in 2005, and it's a long time ago. I was a lot younger, but it's still something I could talk about. So anyway, let me start off by saying it was the 4th of July, and there was a lot of things going on, and so I thought this would be a great live journal vlog story. So Denise had invited me to hang out with Martha, who's somebody we know mutually through the sorority, and Martha was celebrating the fact that she had passed summer school, so we went to R.T. O'Sullivan's for lunch, which is a great place. I had never eaten there before this. It has great food, and something that I always try to say is if they make a good Shirley Temple, then their food is going to be pretty decent. Not all the time. Obviously, it's not like a lay of the land, but I'm just saying, if you're talking about good food, I've always experienced good Shirley Temples as well, and that's one of my favorite non-alcoholic drinks to ever drink. I don't drink it as much anymore, but just saying that. So I think R.T. O'Sullivan's is actually over in Mesa area, over by Fiesta Mall, but I'm not sure because I've only eaten there a couple times. That was the first time, and then after that a few more times. But I think they might have actually shut down, which is kind of sad and unfortunate. But check it out. If it's still there, then eat there. Anyway, so then after that, I think Denise and I went to go see this movie called Saving Face. And Saving Face is this movie about, I mean, I thought it was going to be all sad and dramatic, but it's really about, being funny and witty in places. And it's about this girl who's she's a Chinese lesbian daughter of this kind of like structured family. And I'm sorry, spoiler alert. I hope that I'm not spoiling anybody. I'll put a little notation on there. Spoiling anything for anybody. But so she's a Chinese lesbian woman, and her unaccepting mother, her mother that's unaccepting of her lesbianism, comes to live with her because her mother realizes that she's pregnant, and her mother, being pregnant and not having a husband to go with that pregnancy, is seen as not decent, or it's not acceptable by the Chinese lesbian daughter's grandparents, or the pregnant mother's parents. So anyway, the whole time, the mother and the daughter are kind of like bickering or fighting, and they have their differences, but they aren't really all that different because they both are they both end up seeking acceptance in this strict Chinese upbringing. So it was a really cute movie, and I want you guys to go see it. So anyway, once we saw that movie, then Denise and I met up with Joanne, and we both know Joanne and Lara from the sorority. And Joanne was at Scottsdale Fashion Square, whatever the mall's name is, the Scottsdale Mall. And we were waiting for Lara to get off work. And at that time, Lara was working at the Discovery Channel store. And I don't know if it was this time, so Denise helped me out. I don't know if it was this time, but one time Lara had pointed out to me, and possibly Denise, if you were there, I can't remember if it was this time or another time, but like Shaq was in there shopping for stuff, and it's just like, I guess a bunch of celebrities came through the mall. So like Lara was telling us about the celebrities that came through the mall, and I don't remember if it was this time or another time, but I also remember this is the time that I went in there and I was reading I was reading the Charles Darwin Awards books, where they're like people die in stupid ways. And my favorite Charles Darwin story from that book, and I will tell it here, happened to be in there. So this is the time that I read it. And so I'll tell you it now in a brief amount of time, hopefully. I don't want to take too long in this video. It'll end up being long anyway, but... So what happens is this guy and this girl are going to the woods because the guy's all like, I have a special weekend planned, it's going to be romantic, we're going to have this great time. And they get to the woods, and, it's like this kind of area that's like secluded, but it's still kind of known for, making out, and, like one of those kind of teenage places to go so that you could be alone in the wilderness. And it's kind of like, I don't know, late evening, the sun's going down, and they're making out, and they start to have sexual intercourse, and the guy wanted to pop the question, you know, after they were done. So this is all kind of like, this is why it's a romantic weekend. And so they're having sexual intercourse, and all of a sudden, like, there's a storm, and the guy's just like, it's okay, like, you know, if it gets really bad, we'll move, but it's just kind of windy and whatever. And then, like, lightning starts to happen, and I guess lightning hits this telephone pole, or this electricity wire that was, like, right next to them, and it falls over, and it goes whoosh, and it hits the guy in the back, and it electrocutes him and the girl, because, you know, he's on top of her, and they get electrocuted. And then a few minutes later, you know, like, he comes to or whatever, and he realizes that his girlfriend is actually dead. Like, his girlfriend is dead from this electrical shock. So fuck, he was gonna be, you know, a husband to be, and now all of a sudden his girlfriend, his future fiance, is no longer, and he just he looks at her and he just, like, vomits, right? And he tries to get out of her, and he realizes that his penis, because he was wearing a condom, like, is melted inside of her. Okay. and so he can't get up, like, he can't, like, get himself up and to walk away or anything. And not only that, but he's, like, naked, and he's in the middle of the woods. And later that night, he's just, like, you know, he's crying for help or whatever, and his vomit attracts this bear. And this bear starts eating the vomit, or smelling the vomit or whatever, and then, but it starts to bite her, and he's just, like, trying to hit it away, you know, trying to get off me, fucking bear, like, get the fuck off me, and it eats her arm, like, it bites her arm, and he's just, like, he's vomiting more, like, because this is disgusting to him, right? I mean, it's a real story, so of course it's disgusting. And then, a few days later, after, like, these bear attacks and shit, these Boy Scouts find them, and he's just like, the Boy Scouts are just like, oh my god, and they run away, and they go tell their, like, camp counselor or whatever, and he's like, no, wait, help me, and, you know, the camp counselor gets the kids to stay away because they're naked and whatever happened, but they do help them out, and they get them airlifted to the hospital, and the guy has surgery, and he's, all of his penis is pretty much damaged. He's left with nothing. So that's the story. It took a while to tell it, but that's a story of, you know, you win your Darwin Award, here you go. So rule of thumb is, don't make out under power lines if there's gonna be a storm. I mean, come on. Anyway, so I read that there, and then Denise and I are like, yeah, let's get out of here, because I had this 4th of July party to go to, and I used to work with this girl named Cassie, and Cassie was somebody I worked with in Jumpstart and Head Start. She was a teacher, and just to describe her a little bit, she's like kind of like a dirty blonde or a light brunette. She has green eyes, and, you know, she's fairly thin. She's thinner now than she was before. She had her other child, but she was fairly thin at this time. She was kind of my type, like, body-wise, and, like, her facial features and everything like that, but her personality was so completely different than me, that I knew it wasn't going to work out. And I mean, I worked with her, so I didn't really want it to work out. At this time, I didn't want a relationship, and this time I was in a relationship with somebody that was not an open relationship, so I didn't want to have anything to do with this person. And just, like, at work, she would be flirting with me, and she'd be, like, coming on to me, and she'd be asking me all these questions and all these things, and I was just like, Cassie, like, I gotta go, like, kind of just, like, avoiding the issue that was at hand, and, like, she was really okay with me being queer, but she also seemed like she was, like, curious, you know? So we go to her party, and the reason why I wanted to go to her party with Denise was because Denise, if you remember Denise, you were supposed to be like my wingman, where it's like, if this bitch starts hitting on me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, and then nudge you, and then you were supposed to be like, let's go, there's something else, blah, blah, or, like, just to give me a distraction, or to get this other girl, I don't know, like, we had talked about it, so whatever it was that we had agreed upon, it was something along the lines of, you were supposed to help me out being a distraction, and I think that we did a good job, getting away from there, but basically, what happened was, we get to Cassie's place, and there's vodka, and I think that Denise had some vodka with some Mountain Dew, because, like, Mountain Dew's your favorite, right? And I wasn't drinking really that much at all. And Cassie's like obliterated, and so I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be horrible. So Cassie's husband's inside, and this time they only had the one kid, and Cassie's just like, we're gonna get divorced, and so it doesn't matter what we do, it's cool, like, whatever. And then she comes and sits on my lap, and she's like, so, like, I'm single now, and all this stuff. And she's totally not single. Her husband is still, like, her husband, and they're still married, and even though they're talking about getting divorced, it's like, you don't do that kind of thing at a party like this. And she's, like, completely wasted. I just remember being like, oh my god, Denise, help me, please help me, oh my god. And I mean, somehow we got away. We were like, we need to go do something. I think I ended up saying, like, my friend Denise really wants to go, even though it was like, Denise didn't probably want to be there in the first place. I just brought her along because of that shit. So we got away, but, like, she was sitting in my lap at one point, and her husband was, like, staring at me, and it was just really awkward for me to be in that position, and I was really just, like, really kind of scared for my life at that point, because he was, like, tall and big, you know, so it was kind of creepy. But anyway, so once we get out of there, it's about 10 o'clock, and Denise is, like, driving me home. And I remember we did, like, a U-turn at the end of my street, and then just sat in the cul-de-sac, and we just had, like, a really great conversation. Like, I don't know if Denise is known for this, but she should be renowned for her awesome ability to listen and have intimate, detailed, intricate conversations with people. Just be a good listener and also be a good conversationalist. So I give you props, Denise. I don't know if I've ever given you the thanks that you deserve, but at this time in my life, I was very much needing somebody that would listen and have a conversation and show me, you know, different parts of my life that were positive, or things that could be changed to be more positive. And so I really put that out there, that I really thank you for that, even though I might not have in the past. I still might not have. I wanted to give you that thanks because at this time, like, my life was very much in shambles all over the place, and I was on the verge of my second coming out, or I think I actually just had gone through my second coming out, or no, I was really close, but I hadn't yet. So it was very difficult for me to not have too many friends that would listen to me the way that Denise did. So thank you so much for that. But you know, I've always treasured those moments that we've had after that date, even before that date. We've had great conversations. So I thank you for that. And anyway, so we're having this great conversation, and then I go inside, and at this time I was reading Genderqueer, so I know I was on the verge of my second coming out, or I was close to it if I hadn't already come to it. And Genderqueer is a great book. I recommend it for anybody that's in the process of transitioning, that's in the beginning stages of thinking about transitioning. It was really just this book that kind of opened itself to me and made me feel like, even though the stories were from M to F and F to M and everything in between, and just like gender roles within queer people's families, these kinds of things, queer relationships, it was a really, like, mind-opening experience for me to read this book. And I think it makes you laugh, it makes you think, it has great titles. I'm just gonna sneeze, hold on a second. Excuse me. So I really enjoyed that book, and I really recommend it to other people out there. I'm coming up upon the 15 minutes, so I just want to note that even though this is a vlog story, and I thank you for listening to it, I also, I'm going to post another story that is a live journal post that I created in the kind of essence of the Genderqueer Stories book, because if you don't know what Genderqueer is as a book, it's a bunch of small short stories written by, you know, people that deal with queer or trans issues, and so I wrote my own. If I were to write into the book, I wrote my own, so I will also narrate that from my live journal posting, and hope that you guys enjoy that. But for now, I'm done with my little movie, so I hope you guys enjoyed. This isn't as great of a vlog story as I would have liked it to be, but hopefully it'll still be alright, and I hope to bring you more soon. Okay, bye!